ascertain the presence of a quorum.
Councilor Arroyo. Councilor Baker. Councilor Siomo. Councilor Conley. Councilor Consalvo. Councilor Jackson. Councilor LaMartina. Councilor Linehan. Councilor Murphy.
Present.
Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Presley. Councilor Roth. And Councilor Yancey.
I've been
Mr.
informed by the
President,
clerk that we have a quorum present. I'd ask all councilors and all guests to please rise at this time. In absence of clergy, I'd ask all for a moment of silence for the victims of 9/11, 2001. 12 years ago, our country was attacked. We lost nearly 4,000 innocent men and women, civilians, on our own soil, and I'd ask for a moment of silence to begin the meeting for those who were lost on 9/11. Thank you. Thank you. Please join with me as we salute our flag. I pledge allegiance I ask if there are no corrections to be made, the minutes from the last council meeting be approved. Seeing and hearing no corrections or objections to those minutes, the minutes are so approved. Madam Clerk, communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Docket number 1396, message and order authorizing the Mayor's Office of Emergency Management to accept and expend a grant of $14,051,750 from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, Urban Area Security Initiative, UASI, grant, FFY 2013, address the unique planning, training, exercise, equipment, and operational needs of large urban areas and assist them in building an enhanced and sustainable capacity to prevent, respond to, and recover from threats or acts of terrorism, including chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosives, CBRNE incidents.
Docket 1396 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety.
Docket number 1397, message and order approving an appropriation of $419,236 from the Edward Ingersoll Brown Fund for projects that will ornate the city's streets, ways, squares, and parks.
Madam Clerk. $1397 will be referred to the Committee on City and Neighborhood Services and Veterans Affairs.
Docket number 1398, message and order for confirmation of the appointment of Mark Ehrlich as a member of the Board of Appeal for a term expiring September 1st, 2016.
Docket 1398 will be referred to the Committee of Economic Development and Planning.
Docket number 1399, would you like me to read both?
1399 to 1400.
1399, message and order confirming an election prior to a suitability determination by the Massachusetts Gaming Commission Regulations, 205 Code of Massachusetts Regulations. And docket number 1400, message and order transmitting the request from Sterling Suffolk Racecourse, LLC, Suffolk Downs, for an election on November 5th, 2013, pursuant to the Expanded Gaming Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 23K, and the Massachusetts Gaming Commission Regulation 205 CMR 124 et sequi, is hereby confirmed.
Chair recognizes Councilor Matt O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to raise a point of parliamentary inquiry. I was hoping that you or the clerk could just explain specifically with these two docket items what the process is, what the timetable is, when councilors would have an opportunity to weigh in, perhaps offer amendments, etc. Thank you.
The chair will answer it. Dockets 1399 and 1400 are going to be referred to the Committee on Economic Development and Planning for a public hearing on the matter. And at the public hearing, or when the council disposes of the matter, council members shall have the right to amend or attempt to amend the language that's before us. Satisfied? It goes to the committee, and the chair will determine the timetable. Docket 1399 and 1400 will be referred to the Committee on Economic Development and Planning. Reports of public officers and others.
Docket number 1401, communication was received from the mayor regarding the resignation of school committee member Elfrida Harris.
Docket 1401 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1402, notice was received from the mayor of the reappointment of Daniela Santos as a member of the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for a term expiring May 1st, 2018.
Docket 1402 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1403, notice was received from the mayor of the reappointment of Kenneth Taylor as a member of the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for a term expiring May 1st, 2018.
Docket 1403 will be placed on file. Chair recognizes Councilor Tito Jackson on docket 1401.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to rise in honoring Elfrida Harris for the great work that she has done on the school committee, but also as a member of the District 7 and Roxbury area. She is and has been just Mrs. Roxbury for so long and has contributed so much to our city and also our community. So I wanted to just rise on this occasion as she puts in her resignation after over 20 years of service on the school committee to commend her for a job well done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Chair recognizes Councilor Bill Linehan.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson, for getting the attention of the President, and thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to say a few words. This is a sad day for the city of Boston because Elfrida Harris has been someone who has been a mentor of mine, someone who I worked with for over 15 years in the Boston Parks and Recreation Department. She's committed her entire life to the young people of this city, both as a member of the school committee and as someone who steered recreation. She's been a leader for young women for decades and has probably put more young women of this city through and into college with her expertise, skills, and outright determination on behalf of young women. It's a sad day. She's a dear friend. I hope that she truly enjoys her retirement because she's deserved it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Linehan. Chair recognizes Councilor Charles Yancey.
So, Mr. President, I also would like to commend Elfrida Harris. I thank Councilor Jackson for allowing us to do this. She has committed a great deal of her life to public service, and particularly our young people. And as everyone here knows, we even named a gymnasium after her at the Shelburne Center. And I worked for John Shelburne back in 1968, I think it was. So it's fitting that that facility, at least the gym part of that facility, be named after Elfrida Harris.
Thank you, Councilor Yancey. Madam Clerk, we've been joined by Councilor Felix Arroyo since the roll call, and I'd like to recognize someone who served with distinction for 6 years here, from 2002 to 2007. Councilor Felix Arroyo, the original, is with us today. We've also been joined by Councilor John Connolly. Please make a note of that. Docket 1404, I believe.
Yes. Docket 1404, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Mary Fitchner as an alternate member of the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for a term expiring May 1st, 2014.
Docket 1404 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1405, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Jess Phelps as a member of the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for a term expiring May 1st, 2014.
Docket 1405 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1406, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Susan Knack Brown as an alternate member of the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for a term expiring May 1st, 2014.
Docket 1406 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1407, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Joel Pierce as a member of the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for a term expiring May 1st, 2016.
Docket 1407 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1408, notice was received from the mayor of the reappointment of Virginia Tessay as a commissioner at large of the Boston Air Pollution Control Commission for a term expiring September 1st, 2016.
Docket 1408 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1409, notice was received from the mayor of the reappointment of Bart Mitchell as Commissioner at Large of the Boston Air Pollution Control Commission for a term expiring September 1st, 2016.
Docket 1409 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1410, notice was received from the mayor of the reappointment of Russell Preston as the Commissioner at Large of the Boston Air Pollution Control Commission for a term expiring on September 1st, 2016.
Docket 1410 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1411, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Christopher Cook as a member of the Freedom Trail Commission for a term expiring January 1st, 2015.
Docket 1411 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1412, notice was received from the mayor of the appointment of Susan Taylor as a member of the Freedom Trail Commission for a term expiring January 1st, 2015.
Docket 1412 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1413, communication was received from Sally D. Glora, City Auditor, regarding transfers for the purpose of closing accounts for the fiscal year 2013.
Docket 1413 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1414, the constable bond for Inez Chester and Rose Martin, having been duly approved by the collector-treasurer, were received.
Question comes on the approval of a constable's bonds under the usual terms and conditions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Docket 1414 has passed
Under the usual terms.
under the usual terms and conditions.
Docket number 1415, communication was received from the city clerk of the filing by the Boston Redevelopment Authority of the first report and decision on the St. Kevin Redevelopment Chapter 121A project.
Docket 1415 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1416, communication was received from the city clerk of the filing by the Boston Redevelopment Authority of the first report and decision on the Boylston West Chapter 121A project.
Docket 1416 will be placed on file.
Docket number 1417, communication was received from the city clerk of the filing by the Boston Redevelopment Authority of the Charles View Apartments, Chapter 121A project, certificate of project termination.
Docket 1417 will be placed on file. Matters recently heard for possible action.
Docket number 0277, an ordinance amending the Municipal Banking Commission and providing for reasonable banking practices in the city of Boston.
Chair recognizes City Councilor Matt O'Malley, the Chair of Government Operations, on docket 0277.
Thank you, Mr. President. A hearing was held with the Committee on Government Operations yesterday. Began around 4:30, ended after 7 o'clock. Thank you to my colleagues who attended, Councilor Presley, Councilor Baker, Councilor Siomo, Councilor Yancey, and of course the author of the ordinance, Councilor Arroyo. A lot of testimony was heard in favor of this ordinance. This is something that has truly been what he has been pushing for many, many years as his time here on the council. It is something that I support. It is something that I think really makes sense. There were some concerns that came that were brought mainly from the administration as well as some other business folks. Sam Tyler from the Boston Municipal Research Bureau has submitted a letter. And so what I am going to do today is ask that we have a vote 1 week from today that will allow for 7 more days, in which case the author and the administration and other stakeholders will have an opportunity to find some common ground. It may not prove to be fruitful, and we may have a situation where exactly what exists now will be before us. But as I have done with pretty much every issue that has come before the Government Operations Committee, and it's what I pride myself and my staff, and Christine O'Donnell as our staff liaison, is taking a deliberative approach to this. We've had a number of working sessions from the satellite dish to the rental inspection ordinance, which we're now hearing of and which other hearings will be held, to the Boston Energy Reporting and Disclosure Ordinance. This is what we've done in the last 2 years since I've been chair of the committee that we've sought to do. So again, I'm saying today publicly that I will be calling for this vote next Wednesday at our council meeting and would just urge all parties involved, all stakeholders, and certainly the author to try to find some common ground, try to find something so that we can strengthen and have something that will pass and will be signed by the mayor. I think it makes sense. Again, I support this ordinance. We'll be voting for this ordinance, but just ask that we take a deliberative approach as we've done, as is our job. So thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Chair recognizes President Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. First of all, let me commend the author, Councilor Arroyo, and commend the chair of the committee, Councilor O'Malley. Back in 2010, as a candidate for state treasurer of the Commonwealth, I introduced a very similar plan. We had just gone through a situation where we were in the midst of an economic disaster, and it was cast upon us from Wall Street, and the very banks that control the Wall Street way of life got bailed out, and most citizens didn't get bailed out. Governments didn't get bailed out, and it was the beginning of the Main Street versus Wall Street kind of issue. And we had some of these bigger banks that were charging 28% and above for credit card interest, and those were the recipients of federal dollars at the time. And our local banks that we all know in our neighborhoods and that are in the cities and towns of the Commonwealth, those that don't charge usurious interest rates, those that partner with cities and towns, those that are engaged in civic affairs, those are the banks that were suffering. And that my attempt as an incoming treasurer would be to reward those banks for all of their partnering and their good work with governments. I think Councilor Arroyo is trying to do the same thing here with this ordinance. I think it's a good ordinance. The problem is that when you put the pedal to the metal, you know, Steve Grossman was elected treasurer. He had the same idea. He's moved some of the Commonwealth's money, but he's done so after calling the banks in, talking to them, and redefining the rules and having a productive conversation. I think that's what we're attempting to do here. I think that's what Councilor O'Malley is attempting to do by scheduling working sessions over the next week and try to get this thing done and out. I did get a letter from Sam Tyler giving me a whole bunch of reasons why it's not good to do this at this time, legal reasons and other reasons on timing, which I'm sure some of you others have received. Sam is a valuable resource, and he's a voice to be heard on this. But I believe the idea of rewarding the people, those banks that are partnering with the government, is a good thing, and not rewarding banks that prey upon the citizenry, as some of the larger institutions do, is also a good step. So I support Councilor O'Malley and his efforts to flush this out over the next 7 days, and I look forward to voting on this on next Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Felix Arroyo.
Thank you. I appreciate the expressions of support of the concept behind my legislation. We'll go deeper, I believe, later in this meeting around why I will be asking for passage, as is my right as a member of the council through Rule 24, which I may be invoking later, to just let everyone know, and we'll be asking for colleagues to stand with me and allow for a vote today. You know, I've been moving this issue for 4 years. In fact, some would say I'm a broken record around it. Everyone here, I know, has heard me speak to the merits around Invest in Boston. I've had community meetings and town halls around the merits of Invest in Boston. We've had hearings here in the City Council, not just one, not just yesterday, around Invest in Boston. I've had many meetings with the administration around Invest in Boston, and it's just a fundamental disagreement between myself and the administration. And we agreed that what the disagreement was. The disagreement was yesterday on the record that I believe we should put our money where our mouth is and really invest in the banks that invest in our neighborhoods. And the opposing belief was that we should simply do it through the bully pulpit of the mayor's office. You know, I'm going to present an awful lot of stuff later on, but I don't want anyone to be surprised. I've been pretty straightforward with people since I've been on the City Council, and I'll be straightforward today. 4 years is deliberative. It's hard for someone to tell me that 4 years is not deliberative. I've been on the council for all of 4 years. Since I've been a member of this body, we have been deliberating Invest in Boston. Every member of the council has had this legislation for 4 years, or at least for as long as they have been on the body, if they were not on the body for 4 years. You've had it. And I know, according to our council rules, Rule 24 does exist, and I may very well be invoking that to pull this matter from green sheets later. I want no one to be surprised. And I understand we're all here to do what we think is right when the issue is before us. I respect all of you. I believe that all of you will do what is right. And know that that's where I'm coming from on this one. I'll have a much more eloquent statement as to why I support Invest in Boston when the time is appropriate to speak towards the issue. But I'm speaking towards what were brought before the table by our chairman, who has been a friend, and our president, who has been a leader. On their ideas around when the vote should happen, I wanted to express mine. I'll speak more to the matter of Invest in Boston when the time is appropriate.
Thank you, Councilor Arroyo. Chair recognizes Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise to the Speaker's statement. As I mentioned in my statement, I appreciate how deliberative, how much this has been on his radar screen. I will simply say, for the record, that I was named Government Operations Chair in 2012. I was never approached about holding a hearing in 2012. In 2013, I was approached by the maker last month to hold a hearing. I made sure that we did. We were able to get it done, and we had it yesterday. It ended about 18 hours ago. I believe in this legislation, and I support it. I think I've articulated a desire to continue a week and give a date certain when the vote will take place. But I do not want to be put in a situation where I would have to vote against something that I believe in. So if you were to invoke a rule or pull this from the green sheets, then provided that my colleagues do not have an issue with it, then I would vote to support it should he make that move.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Docket 0277 will remain in the Committee on Government Operations. Motions, orders, and resolutions.
Docket number 1418, Councilor Conley offered the following order for hearing regarding the recent rise in the use of the designer drug commonly known as Molly.
Docket 1418 will be referred to the Committee on Public Safety.
Docket number 1419, Councilor Linehan offered the following resolution designating a Memorial Hero Square at the intersection of Logan Way and Old Colony Avenue in South Boston in honor of John D. Sullivan.
Chair recognizes Councilor Bill Linehan on docket 1419.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to suspend and adopt this resolution. John Sullivan was resided in South Boston and back in when he entered the U.S. Marine Corps in the 40s. He was killed in action in Iwo Jima on March 7, 1945. And he's been a son of Boston, and the family has asked that he be designated in a hero square. I think that such a personal sacrifice on behalf of the family and the ultimate sacrifice by him, it's duly something that should occur. So I ask that we suspend and adopt this resolution.
Counsel Linehan moves suspension of the rules and adoption of docket 1419. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Docket 1419 has been adopted. Personnel orders.
Docket number 1420, Councilor Murphy for Councilor Conley offer the...
Councilor Conley moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1420. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Docket 1420 has passed.
Docket number 1421, Councilor Murphy for Councilor Conley.
Councilor Conley moves suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1421. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Docket 1421 has passed. There are no late filed matters in the hands of the clerk. Anybody wishing to remove a matter from the green sheets may do so at this time. Chair recognizes Councilor Arroyo.
Thank you. A moment, as I didn't realize we were going to get that so quickly. I know it's in government affairs. I just got to get to the docket number. Removing docket 0277.
Council be in a brief recess. The chair would ask the clerk to rule on the request of Councilor Arroyo based on trying to invoke Rule 24 here before we move forward. The clerk will,
Who has my,
you may have left it up here. Here it is. Councilor Arroyo is asking for a 1-minute recess. Should be in recess, another minute.
all he has to do is
The chair and the clerk have ruled that Rule 24 in this case is out of order because docket 0277 was before the council with a recommendation from the chair of the committee. It has had a hearing. Rule 24 is a different vehicle. It allows for a councilor who's had legislation blocked by a committee chair to remove that legislation over the objection of the committee chair. So Rule 24 does not apply in this case because earlier today, council discussed on the floor docket 0277, which is now back in committee after having that public debate on the matter. And the chair has indicated a date certain for a vote on docket 0277. Chair recognizes Councilor Arroyo.
I very strongly doubt. Within 90 days, a matter is referred to a committee that may be called by 3 members of council. This is the same legislation. It's been there all year. I'm just looking for my right as a duly elected member of the Boston City Council by the voters of the city that I'm proud to live in and proud to represent. If there are not 3 members of the council who would join me, then I move on. But if there are, then it's before the body. If there are not 7 members of the council who support it, then it doesn't pass. And if there are, it does. That's what we do. We legislate, and sometimes we have to vote. I'm looking for my right of the city council, invoking what to me seems to be very clear language in Rule 24, that after 90 days, a matter in committee can be pulled by 3 members. This has been in committee for more than 90 days, and I'm looking to invoke it with 3 votes, invoking the rule that we all agree to abide by through this session on the Boston City Council.
Madam Clerk.
Councilor, I couldn't agree with you more on Rule 24. That is a vehicle to bring a matter before the council. The challenge that we have is you cannot take action on a matter twice in the same session without very simply, and that is what we are, no one's trying to block you, we are suggesting that what you need to do is move for reconsideration. If you go back in the history of the council meetings, you will see that whenever an action was taken, something was assigned to committee, a vote was taken, you can only move for reconsideration within that session. And that's why Rule 24 doesn't apply. If I had known this, I would have stopped you when you spoke. I would have said a minute's recess, but I didn't know exactly. I didn't know whether you were going to accept the chair's
Am I allowed to
offer.
respond,
So
Mr. President?
that was the issue. you have to move for reconsideration, and then you can have the votes. You can have all the votes. That's your right. You are the city councilor.
I respectfully disagree with our clerk. And in fact, I want my colleagues to know that this disagreement comes after consultation with our legislative director, who takes the position that I take, that I can in fact invoke Rule 24, and that I can in fact ask for 3 councilors to join me in supporting that. That is the legislative director that we have placed confidence in and hired to serve as our legal counsel as a body. It's striking to me that there's such a difference of opinion, but we do have one on staff, an attorney who's paid to give us consultation, and her consultation, as I have in writing, is that I can invoke Rule 24. And I would like at least a response to that.
If I could just respond, one comment, and that would be that my goal is to make sure that whatever vote is taken in this chamber is legally binding. Obviously, there's been great discussion. This has been something that's been here with great interest. And I want to make sure that when a vote is taken, it is not something that is going to be subject to appeal or subject to be overturned. I really and truly believe you cannot take action, and setting a date certain is action on a certain matter that is before the body, and then take it up for consideration without simply moving for reconsideration. That is all. I want to help. I'm not trying to be an objection, an obstacle.
Chair recognizes Council Mike Ross.
I just want a question of parliamentary procedure, if I may, Mr. President. And if you could, I apologize because I was late for the council meeting today, but I think I got it, and I just want to make sure I have it right. Is it the position of the clerk that this matter is now coming up for reconsideration because the previous act was setting a date certain by the previously earlier in this session here today?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, Councilor.
I just, I think the spirit of, and that therefore Rule 24 is reset.
Oh, no, not reset. Oh, definitely not reset. It's
Rule 24 doesn't apply.
applied. Action taken. Laying it on the table or...
Chair recognizes Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I said, I see value in waiting a week. It is clear the author of this does not. I do not want to be in the position where I would have to vote against this ordinance, which I do believe in. So if he would like to pull this from the green sheets, I do not object.
Can't pull it from the green sheets. That's what we're talking about here.
Mr. President, as
Chair
the author,
recognizes Councilor Arroyo.
5-minute recess.
Before we do that, let me just state this. This is a very simple parliamentary question. The question is, the maker wants to get this back before the body. The only way he can do it, he's been instructed, is to move for reconsideration. He doesn't want to move for reconsideration. He wants to overrule the chair and the clerk. The council has rules. Rule 24 does not apply. The president enforces those rules. I've told him, clerk has told him, move for reconsideration and you can bring it back. He has not moved for reconsideration. He's going to argue.
Just a yay, nay vote, and then if someone wants to doubt the vote, Councilor. Just a simple majority.
Council will be in a brief recess.
interest of the spirit of collegiality and what I term collaborative politics, I will not object to the ruling of the chair. However, I would like to have on the record assurances from the chairman of Government Ops that we will be moving this absolutely for a vote in our next council session, which I believe is scheduled for September 18th.
Next week.
And if I know he may have said something similar, but frankly, there was a lot of things going on. So if that's the position that our chairman has taken, then I can support our chairman and also support our president by not objecting to his ruling.
Chair recognizes Councilor O'Malley.
As I've said publicly several times today, as well as privately to you, Councilor Arroyo, we will have a vote on this next Wednesday, 7 days from today. I am hopeful that there can be some common ground between the administration and yourself. As I've also said earlier, if that cannot be found, I support this bill and will be voting affirmatively when we vote for this next Wednesday.
Satisfied, Councilor Royal?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Royal. Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Anybody else wishing to remove a matter from the green sheets may do so at this time. There are four late filed matters which, in the absence of objection, will be added to the consent agenda. Hearing no objection, the matters are so added. The chair moves adoption of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is adopted. If I could ask all councilors and all guests to please rise as we prepare to close this meeting of September the 11th. For Councilor Lamattina, Frank Del Mudo. For Councilor Linehan, Robert Donlin, Rhonda Zablocki, Paul Scheffler. For Councilor Ross, Eugenie Beal. For the Chair, Teresa M. Toland. For Councilors Murphy and O'Malley, Daniel F. Bud Roach. Councilors Murphy and Baker, Marguerite Miller, that's Pat Miller from my office, mother-in-law. For Councilors Yancey and Murphy, Herbert David Lindsay, Nicole Lindsay, on Councilor Yancey's staff's father. For Councilor Yancey, Barbara Corin, Muriel Elizabeth Wheaton, Albert Augustus Bailey. For Councilors O'Malley and Linehan, Mary Teresa DiGiacomo. For Councilor Siomo, Jackie Williams and Elaine Thurman. And on the Eugenie Beal piece from Councilor Ross, I'm to add Councilors Linehan and Lamattina on that. We can all have a moment of silence and Councilor Yancey. We can have a moment of silence for all of the aforementioned. Thank you. The chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it will to meet again on Wednesday, September the 18th at 12 o'clock noon. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Aye. Yay. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The council stands adjourned.